Hello, good afternoon. My name is Van Shreme. I'm going to be your moderator for today. We are going to listen to some of the powerful information our senior colleagues have for us. So if you are here, get ready. I'm going to begin to call my speakers so that we can set the ball rolling. Thank you so much.
So my name is Patience Zufi. I completed SHS around 2012 and then got admission to do Med Lab Sciences at Silicon, which I completed in 2016. Later, I did my service at Konfanoche Teaching Hospital. So after my service, I wasn't so sure what to do. But in my case, I wanted to go into clinical hematology, but I wasn't sure about the career pathway as a medical laboratory. So after speaking to a lot of people, I was advised that why not just go and do medicine, and then later on I can go and do the clinical hematology. But I must say that even that has changed a lot since I came to medical school, because there are a lot of endless specializations to choose for. It's like every rotation that we do, like I want to stay there. So I'm now so not sure about the clinical hematology that made me come to do medicine, because there are endless opportunities. That's not to say that I'm not focused. It's just to show that there are endless opportunities and specializations to choose from. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, Patient, that is really brief. I know Patient personally, so I could foresee that it's going to be great. So let's move to Mr. Jabo, the lawyer in making, for him also to give us his great history. Mr. Jabo, can you take over for me?
Okay, Ibas, thank you. I do hope you can hear me.
Sure, we can.
Yes, and special hi to Maxwell and Patience. You guys are doing great. That's fantastic journey out there, quite inspiring. Yes, basically, I also got into MedLab. I think I entered KNUST 2002 and left 2006. We were, I think, the fourth batch of graduate medical laboratory technology. You know, KNUST was the first university in Ghana to start a graduate program in medical laboratory technology. So we were about the fourth batch, yes. And those times, we had never seen any person who was a graduate medical laboratory technologist in Ghana. There wasn't any such thing. The only thing that we had were final year, people who had entered final year who were hoping to become one. So the confidence factor was a missing link in that area then. I'm sure when we get to the discussion stage, I'm sure you have more time to look at what happened around that. So now, when I finished, I had interest in marketing. So I enrolled into the Chartered Institute of Marketing program, UK, SIM UK. And a lot of people were quite surprised, and they were wondering, what has a lab got to do with marketing? You know, they were wondering. But I always listened to the voice within. So I did it, and around that time, when I finished my internship in 2007, I had opportunity to start. We were the people who started the diploma medical laboratory technology at College of Health in Tampo, which then was called the Rural Health Training School in Tampo. We started a diploma program. So from Konfanoche, after my internship, I went straight to Kintampo, and then whilst there, I was using my spare time to study. So I think I got chartered there around 2010, thereabout. And when I got chartered, about the same time, I had a friend who was also a chartered accountant. So we met and decided to set up a consulting firm which was focused on the informal sector. He was a chartered accountant, I was a chartered marketer. So we team up and formed GMC Consulting Limited. And so I resigned in 2011. I resigned from my job as a tutor at the College of Health. I left to, whilst at College of Health, I was handling clinical chemistry. And I think I was doing well because the students I taught, I don't know if some are on this platform, I think the feedback over the period has been fantastic. They always referred to the short time we spent together as a time that was quite transformative because they have since built on it, and I see a lot of them. Some are now lecturers as UDS, and anytime I see them, I'm so happy that I was able to help build the foundation. So we came and we started the consulting firm. It took off and it became quite big. We never anticipated that we could be that successful, and that's another chapter. Then, whilst in 2015, whilst doing the consulting, that was when this law idea came. So I mean, I felt that I like to work with my mind rather than my hands. So I said, no, I was drawn to this law thing. So I started the studies with University of London. It's a distance program. So from 2013 to 2016, within 3 years, I think I finished the program. And in 2015, before I finished, I was selected or headhunted by MedLab Diagnostics. Around that time, I think there were international new entrants like MedLab, Metropolis, and other, international players were entering the Ghanaian market, and they had taken up a larger chunk of the market share of MedLab. So they needed somebody who both understood the technical side, which is the laboratory, and also the business side. And this is what becomes interesting. Now, those people who were previously asking what the link between marketing and lab is, at that particular moment, there was no such person who had a combination of those skills except myself. So I was headhunted to the role of Deputy MD or Chief Operations Officer. And I occupied that role until 2018, when I left to start my own company, which is Tridema Labcare, which is into import, distribution, and supply of laboratory devices and consumables. And I think in around 2018, I started a master's program in law at KN University, focusing on healthcare law and ethics. And I think I finished in 2020. Yes. And currently, I'm in the Ghana School of Law. Our results just came, so I've been promoted to part 2, which means that hopefully next year I should come out I should be called to the bar. So basically, this is my story. And I think between there are interesting things there, but the devil is in the detail, as always. So maybe when we get to the details, a lot more work. So that's briefly about me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the in-depth of information that you are pouring out. Now, as you said, Frank is also having the challenge to join us, but we are working on him so that immediately he comes, we also give an opportunity to let us know how his journey began and where he is now. Let's go deeper, as you rightly said. For me, once we got to the lab, I got to the lab through the where we joined the Champions League in Legon. Then second year, we applied to go to Kolebu. So I remember on the first day we were asked, because the lecturers knew some people see the lab as not their right destination. They just came in because probably they didn't get medicine or they didn't get dentistry. So they went to lab. So I want to know, Mr. Konde, you guys didn't go through that stress that we went through, because it was very, very stressful for some of us. For me, I wasn't, because I didn't have I was not that anxious of going to medical school in the first place, so I wasn't disturbed much. But I hope and I know that there are people on this page who might have also joined lab because their dream course didn't pick them up. what will you tell such people? Is the lab a good destination, or they should still yearn at living to join where they think they belong?
I would say that just like many, folks who graduate from senior high school, I think that if you did science and then you graduated with some good grades, the immediate intuition is that, and the expectation of society is that you go to read medicine. My journey started like that. My journey was to go and read medicine at Kenya University. I wouldn't say unfortunately, but I got into the medical lab program. And over the years, and I haven't grown to understand a lot of dynamics in medicine myself. I think that medical lab science, it's really the actual medicine, because it's where you are able to really get to know what's wrong with the patient, right? So if your place is medicine, I think that if I had the opportunity to recommend to most of our training institutions, the School of Medicines, I would recommend that every medical doctor should have a training in medical lab, because if you have a foundation in medical lab, you can't succeed in any field when it comes to medicine. And of course, not just medicine, but other fields, like where I am. I think in some jurisdictions, a bachelor's degree is just like a foundation that you can use to enter into any field that you want to be. I would say that I still practice medical lab today, indirectly, because the research that I do, it's in diagnostics. My interest currently is in cancer. I mean, it's a long story, even though I started with hematology and all of that. My current interest is in cancer, but I'm looking at how to develop diagnostic kits, or sort of multi-panel biomarkers that could really aid with early detection of cancer. So I think broadly, I would say that if you are in medical lab science, whether by chance or by choice, it is a good field. It's an excellent field. It's a field that can lead you to other fields. Or if you really want to even stay and practice, there are tons of opportunities there right now for you to be able to progress, to become a consultant, either through the college, that's the West African College of Medical Lab Science, or other medical lab science colleges if you are interested in practicing outside, either in the UK or in the United States, or wherever you want to practice. So I think, basically, if you are in it and you're interested in there being in the practice, it is a perfect place for you. But also it is a place where you can spiral and go to other like diverse areas that you want to do, just like my brother Jabo here is doing. I mean, he's in law. He's probably enjoying it, and I have decided to go into research. So basically, I think that having a degree in medical lab science is probably the beginning, and then there are chunks of places if you wanted to progress into, you can.
Thank you very much. I wanted you to get your side because I have taken the full professional course, so I'm more into it, and going into business in the same line. It means that I'm more towards into clinical practice, and when I get the opportunity, I explain to the other folks. I mean, the opportunities with the lab, the untapped aspect that we've not even begun to look at. So I just wanted other views on this issue, because it's one of the reasons that bring about the kind of uncertainty that sometimes lab professionals come across. You are on the field and you are not so certain, because maybe you even think you joined because you didn't like it, and by reason of the university choices, you have to be given and you have to pursue it. Your family will not allow you to probably stay in the house for that year or two. So the lab, as you said, is comes with a lot of opportunities, even many more that we've not even tapped yet. So, Mr. Jabo, coming to the uncertainties, can one say that you move into law or you move into marketing or while immediately you got into marketing, you realize that marketing is very good. So now that lab is always fighting other people, and they don't seem to have a clear direction. That is why you left, or you considered your passion, or what guided you to leave into law fully. By all means, I know you love the lab, but something pushed you out.
Okay, Evans, I haven't left the lab, and believe you me, we did our bit. We were student leaders at KNUST. During our time, we were able to fight and get final year laboratory students to join the medical students at the clinical students hostel at CAT. This was a novel thing. It had never happened. I remember the Medical Students Association, when they learned we had succeeded, they fought so hard trying to undo what we had done, but it was too late. I mean, this was during the time of Professor Akpanyaga, and I remember he called the leadership of the MSA and scolded them for trying to undo what we had done, because all our fathers also pay taxes just like their fathers, and so we did our bit. I mean, if my year group, we did. So I've not left the lab. That's why here I'm saying it as a supplier of laboratory inputs. I supply quality machines and inputs. So I'm still in it, paying my dues. Yes, nothing pushed me except that I always believe, and I've always been telling my students, even when I was teaching them, that the laboratory can only prosper when the laboratory is endowed with so much talent by way of intellectual resources. And all of us cannot sit on the bench. If you do that, we risk perishing. You can only succeed as a profession when you have others as lawyers, as whatever. Some can branch to become doctors, some can branch wherever their interest and their skills can take them. All of them are still laboratorians once you have ever been through laboratory. It's just like they say that it doesn't matter your country of origin. Once you have the black skin, you are an African. It's the same way. I mean, once you've ever walked through the walls of medical laboratory, it doesn't matter your current job or profession, you are still a laboratorian. And I think that the more diverse we are, the better we are, in terms of succeeding as a group. So I haven't left at all, and the knowledge gained in the law field, I'm sure in future it will prove useful both to the association or to the profession and then the others. So clearly, and I should say that my background as a laboratorian is what also informed my choice of specialization. Even when I did a postgraduate in law, I said I did healthcare law and ethics. Of course, it's because I have a background in medical laboratory science. So it actually informed where I settled on in terms of my postgraduate study. So I haven't left. I haven't left. I'm with you, like Jesus said, to the end of the world.
Thank you so much. I'm enjoying myself so much, and the information you are pouring out is very, very powerful. And I believe the audience are also listening, and they are making their decisions. Sister Patience, let me quickly push this one to you. Sometimes I say that other professions like medicine, they are very secretive. They don't want us to, probably the other side of it that we don't know. So many of us want to have interest in moving to other fields, particularly medicine, to say. I would have put this question to Frank if he has joined by now. But since you are there and you are now reading medicine, because Frank has gone to medicine and come back to read lab in addition. So I would have put this question to him why he's doing that. Now, Patience, I want to know, beside what we know in the public domain or in the healthcare field, and what we don't know as laboratory from medicine, are there things that you can say that, oh, this is the reality, but people outside are not aware, that you think you can share with us?
Okay, thank you. Well, I think the diagnostic center makes a lot of money compared to the clinical aspects. So probably that's why they are so much interested in diagnosis as well. Not wanting you guys to do this because most of the is laboratory, radiology, sonography. I think makes most of the hospitals money compared to the clinical aspect. That's what I think.
Am I the only one who is not hearing you well? The mic. Am I
Hello,
the
you
only
can.
one? Yes, it comes, but it's not consistent. Mr. Konde, are you okay with it, or I'm the only one?
Yeah, she breaks in and out.
Okay. So if you can check that and retake it for us, I think that would be perfect. Patient.
Okay, Evans, thank you. So I was saying probably it's because they know the diagnostic aspects of most hospitals and like the medical professionals who makes a lot of money compared to the clinical aspects. That's why they want to regulate that area as well. Did you get me?
Yes, I think we got the early part. The late part is a bit blurred, but I think
Oh,
it's I got it now.
I think it's my
So okay, so um, that is good information. It means that we as laboratory professionals, we have something that someone is eyeing to get, you know, and me being
That's what she said.
hello, someone was talking.
I'm saying that we didn't get what she said. I didn't hear anything. I
Okay,
think you are trying to.
let me try and summarize it. Hello? Let me summarize what patient said. I think she's having challenge with the mic. What she said was that she believed that we, the labs and the diagnosis, so radiography and those ones,
hello.
chunk of the hospital money comes to us. Patients, are you there? Are you back? You want to take it yourself? Okay, so she was saying that maybe that is the reason why we are being battled left, right, center. Okay, so in summary, it means that we really have a profession that has value, that we have to make good use of it. Okay, so Mr. Jabo, this thing has been bothering me, and I want to see how colleagues should take it. I have always advised that as professionals, we have to add on skills. With what you are doing, I think you are just adding on skills. Okay, you added marketing, you are now adding law, and that will not be the end. You keep adding skills. Now there's IT, which is very critical in the lab. There are equally other fields that we need to add on as professionals. So you being a pioneer of maybe a scenario of that sort, in this today's technological driven and innovative um, environment, what advice would you give to a professional who is not so certain but want to focus on the lab? Because if we look at the data that we had from the participants, about 40% of those who are currently working in clinical setting want to move into either research or other industries. From the data we got from participants, the number of people who are currently working in clinical settings, about 30% want to leave, go to other fields, either academia or industry. But I advise that if we can still be in the clinical setting and add on these skills so that we get the money that we deserve. That is what I think you are doing.
Okay, Evans, thank you for the question, but this is a very important question, I must say. And what I would like to say is that in choosing where to move next, whether to remain in clinical practice or to divert, if you want to divert, where you should divert to, I think that 5 important things must occupy your mind, or you must divert your mind to these 5 important things. The first is your talent and skill, your talent. You should do an introspection to actually value and assess your own talent and skill, because you can only make a success or get fulfilled when whatever it is you do, your talent and your interests coincide with your whatever your profession is. Until your profession contains, or your profession has your talent or skill and also your interest, you are never fulfilled, because you may only be doing it for the money. And when you in any profession that you are doing it just to actually make a living, or just to make get an income, you will never find fulfillment. You're never going to get fulfillment. And Einstein says something important. According to Einstein, he says that beyond knowledge is only intuition. What he says is that knowledge can only take you to a point. Beyond that is intuition. That is what your inner self tells you. Now, to be able to make a success out of your career, in the classroom, you are taught the same things, but how come when we come to the field, others excel and others don't? This tells you that in classroom, we share knowledge. That is how far available information is. But when we get to the field, what distinguishes the A's from the B's and the C's is intuition. And intuition can only come when you have, your skill and your interests are aligned to what you're doing. So this is very, very important. So I said the 5 things. The first thing is your talent. The second thing is education and training. Like Maxwell said, he wanted a place where his exposure could be expanded. And thankfully, he had opportunity. So, you are already a laboratory expert. So your next line of action, where will you get a training? I mean, it's important. You can't just wish for something that the training is not available. I know the laboratory is growing in Ghana. When we were there, you could not have done your master's in hematology. And now I understand even KNUSC is offering PhD opportunities in other fields. So this shows that it's growing. So that is something you need to think about, whether the area you want to move to, the training is available in Ghana. And if it's not available in Ghana, where will you get it? These things must also occupy your mind. Then, if you take that, you should also look at your long-term goals and purpose in life. In life, what are your long-term goals and purpose? That's important in what you settle on. I mean, eventually, looking at yourself, look at your current age, project yourself 5, 10, 20 years from now. Where do you want to be, and how will you want your life to look like? That should inform the kind of training or area you want to move to. And then you also have to look at the employment opportunities, or in terms, if you move there, what are the opportunities available? That's very important. After all, you cannot learn for learning's sake, and you cannot spend money and time to train for training's sake. You do all this things because you want to monetize it. You want to make an income out of it. So it's important. Then finally, but not the least, your work and life balance. You can't have a profession. You can be successful in your profession and be bad in terms of your family. You can't have wayward children. If you give birth to children, you should have a profession where you are able to also train them, give them attention, and school them in the way they should go, as the Bible says, so that when they grow, they will not depart. So you should make time to actually interact and train your family or your kids. So work-life balance is important. These 5 things anyone who wants to move from the lab to some other place, these 5 things the person must avert his mind to them. And once he does that, chances are that he will make a correct choice.
Thank you very much. Talking about add-on skills. Always when I meet, when I'm recruiting for hospitals and labs, and even my own business, I always tell candidates that when I pick your CV, I don't look at the first 2 pages. because I know those pages will come with lab experiences. So I rather go to the last page where you have the interest and the hobbies and the add-on skills. Usually that is where we put it. So most employers will just look at your job and look at qualification and all those things, but I don't do that. Once you've applied and I know you have the minimum qualification of, if say it's a degree, I just go to the last page and look out for the other skills. If you have skills in, say, marketing, you have skills in graphic design, you have IT skill, now photography and all those things, because as a businessman, I want to bring in people who will be innovative because they have other skills to bring on board. So if you are listening to us today and you've not considered adding on more skills to what you have as a laboratory scientist, then it's a great opportunity for you to look for these add-on skills that you can put on. Mr. Akonde, quickly and in details, I'm giving you some time. Some of us, myself, I consider academia as a long journey where I have to carry myself, go and sit in class for maybe 2 years for masters. I have to carry myself again for PhD 4 years. Then I have to, if I have to go to America, I have to come to America and stay there for 5 years to 4 years before I could get a PhD. So I look at the time and all those stuff and I said, Charlie, let me go for my MLSD, finish and continue my business because I want to continue this, So I want you to elaborate on some of the importance why the academia stands as a good opportunity for scientists. I always say that if you take the Ghana situation as of now, laboratory professionals are one of the groups that are getting a lot of, these top degrees, masters and PhDs. Always, every now and then, you hear one or someone going to do PhD or masters. Talking of you, Akonde, Alex, and all those guys, Michael, a lot of them, So I want you to elaborate on the academia to our audience for them to probably, they have interest to consider it. For me, maybe to be at the later end, So I want you to elaborate on why you chose the academia and why you think whoever has interest should quickly move in.
Yeah. So Evans, like you rightly said, academic path may seem pretty long, but I think Jabo, my brother Jabo, highlighted something. It's about interest. What do you see yourself doing in the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? I mean, just assess yourself, how old you are, how many years can you devote for what I call self-development, because if you have a goal and you want to get to that goal, you need to be able to sit down, think through it, and just ask yourself those most important questions like, is this something that I want to do with the rest of my life? If it's something that you feel like you can do with the rest of your life, I think that's something that is worth pursuing. And so I think if you're someone who is thinking about academia, it is a very fulfilling career. I've had the opportunity of actually teaching before. Now I'm doing my PhD. I think that I've had the opportunity of teaching at almost every level of the Ghanaian education, from the primary school through to the junior high, senior high, the university. In fact, I taught briefly in Legon after my my service, because I was employed there as a research assistant, where I had to take students through practical sections and all of that. And then whilst I was doing my master's, I had the opportunity to teach at the University for Development Studies. So pretty much, and I still teach. So pretty much, I think, when you get to see people that you have impacted knowledge to grow in, like, being able to do, or like being able, like, of course, to do what they want to do or move into spaces that they want to move, and it's really fulfilling, right? So there is that self-fulfillment when you see people that you've impacted knowledge on doing so well in life. Beyond that, I would think that academia offers you the opportunity to be able to go into, collaborate and go into different, do different things. I don't know the situation in Ghana, but I think that for me being here, one important thing is about where you get funding for research and all of that. It's more like extra income. And so for most people who are in academia, they look forward to winning grants. And through grants, it's like you are managing your own projects, you are managing your own business. So, you have the opportunity to actually, set aside some amount for yourself as pay or salary. And so, I think that you have that space to sort of grow, pay yourself in terms of if the financing is your aspect. And I would say it's very lucrative in Ghana, but and that's why I chose a path where I'll be able to build some collaboration beyond Ghana and be able to sort of, write grants and win grants. So I think that academia, if that's something that is you are interested in, you should be able to build that team where you can win grants. If that is not something you want to dedicate your life to, like doing research, but also teaching. Like I said, there are probably some people who just want to do only the teaching aspect rather than the research aspect, which is also very good, but maybe not financially. But of course, you get that fulfillment. You'll be able to have some space to do other things, I would think, because I think that I see a lot of colleagues who are already in academia. Usually, you have some dedicated time for teaching, and then the rest of the time is how you're able to really manage it. And so I think that generally it's just about what you see yourself being able to do with your life, in the next, because if you have to spend about 7 to 8 to 10 years to get a PhD, meaning from your bachelor's to a PhD, then you are looking at a long-term investment and something that you think that you can easily do, something that you would love doing, something that you're not going to get tired doing. But on the whole, it's just something that you get self-fulfillment. It's something that you can be able to collaborate beyond the shores of Ghana and win grants. But it's also something that you can consult for firms, because when you have a PhD, automatically you are at that level of a consultant. So you have the opportunity to work with other established firms, either international organizations or even local organizations, where you can, consult for them. And that's, something like, side money or something like that. I see people also starting organizations with their research groups. So if you're interested maybe in a particular cancer, you can start a cancer consortium, right? That becomes like, a vehicle for you to conduct research or move into spaces and work with other organizations that have interest in ovarian, let's say cancer or whatever type of cancer that may be. So academia is not just limited to teaching, it's not just limited to research, but of course, like I mentioned, you can do consultancy, you can start up your own business like an NGO or whatever it is, just focusing on the results that you're finding. Of course, you want to be able to drum home those results through a public vehicle, which is what I call, an NGO or something like that. So basically, I think academia is rewarding if you are interested in it. For me, it's like, how do you get there? How do you get there? It's once you have decided that you want to go through academia, you need to be able to sit down and look at, how do you get it? And I think maybe that's something that if time permits, we can talk about much later.
Very much, Mr. Konde. I think we need time. One time we have to bring you Alex and Co, so that we can look at how to take advantage of some of the opportunities that probably we are not taking the chance for. Now, quickly, Dr. Frank Amakohene has joined us. So, Amakohene, we've been going through the lab. I mean, we started from by the panelists introducing themselves and their journey. Then we delve into the questions proper. So we are at a stage where we are now getting the deeper thought of the career path that each of us took. So quickly, I want you to also summarize your history. You are a man of many colors, they say. So I want you to quickly, if I want to summarize it, it will take long. So quickly, just summarize it for us. Then I'll ask you a follow-up question. Then you join the stream. Then we take it from there. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Can I be heard?
Yes, we can. Can hear you.
Okay, yes. So just an overview of who I am. So I'm a medical laboratory scientist, a medical doctor, and a politician. I think that summarizes it all for us. I'm sure as we move on, we will definitely get to know much details of what I do. But basically, that is I completed at University of Ghana Medical Lab Science and also University of Ghana Medical School. And I'm now pursuing MLSD, class of 2023. So basically, that is it. If there are any other things, I'll go into it as well.
So I remember you had a book about how you have to go to school for 10 good years. If I remember.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay. So going into more details, I want you to convince someone on this platform. I just shared with Mr.
Academia,
I see myself going to read a PhD for 6 years.
Hello?
I see that time consuming, but you have to go for more than almost 10 years. Now you are continuing, so you'll be 12 years in a row, So I want you to talk to us how you arrive at such a decision to continuously be in school for almost 12 years, Where did the motivation come from?
Okay, thank you. So as I was saying, the book is actually dubbed A Decade at the University, and it talks about academia, the choices in there. It talks about student leadership, main political leadership, religious leadership, elections in Ghana, among other things. Yes, I mean, I started University of Ghana as the first program was biomathematical science. I actually did not read biology at SHS as a main course. I had to write it during NOVDEC. So when I entered University of Ghana, I didn't do biological sciences. I did biomathematical sciences. And moving on to Kolebu, I was specific. I chose medical lab sciences. During the program, I really enjoyed it. That was a bit stressful. I really enjoyed it. And I had a colleague who talked to me about the opportunity to read medicine after the medical lab program. So after the medical lab program, I entered medical school for another 4 years. The 2 years lab was actually for internship. And after medical school, I came back to MLSD, which is also MedLab. So yes, it sounds a bit confusing going from MedLab to medical school, then back to MedLab. I am of the opinion that no matter what, whichever thing you find doing, just do it to the best of your ability. And you don't abandon completely a knowledge in pursuit of another. I know of colleagues who have branched into reading law. I know colleagues who have branched into reading other programs out of the MedLab sciences. And I think it is that diversity that will actually make the profession stand out. If I'm to bring in how the medical association among other professions I'm aware of operate. They encourage their members to diversify in terms of seeking knowledge in other fields, which makes them stronger. So at every point in time, before they come out to take a position on a matter, they have people speaking from different or diverse point of view because of the knowledge they had to tap into. So yes, I don't see reading other program as a betrayal or an abandonment of, say, the lab profession. I think that it rather makes us strong. So having been in leadership and then also looking at the conflicts that usually exist between the various professions, I decided that no, it's best I'm in the shoes of both sides to be able to objectively make an input on how we can all make the profession stronger. So my motivation was actually a political one, to be able to have authority in both areas and to be able to appreciate the shortfalls and how best we can coexist in the health fraternity. But having had that motivation and having entered both medical school and med lab fraternity, I've noticed that there are other opportunities aside academia in terms of business and private practice that comes your way, which actually defines you as a scientist or defines you as a person. But I believe that all that we are doing is also to be able to help you build some muscles to take care of family, society, among others. So the business aspect of the profession is also another area that I think we should equally take interest in. And I'm sure that as we discuss these issues, we would look at them and see how best you will only depend on the, well, I say peanut from controller and accountant general, but you should be also able to look at the other aspect of the profession and how best you can make some ends meet from that aspect as well. So yes, my motivation initially was a political one, but having entered both sides, I've noticed that there are countless opportunities in there, both to have knowledge and wisdom in the areas and also to be able to contribute to the betterment of the health profession.
Thank you so much, Dr. Frank Amakohene. I think you've given us deep insights. One key thing I took from what you just said is whatever career path you want to take, look at the broader picture, how you want to use it. And like Brother Akonde said, your interest, because if your interest is in politics, then you look at the course that you're going to take. Will it benefit you when you become a politician? Okay, me as a businessman and having a business around lab, I thought that going out to retail law for now will not be beneficial to me. And considering my long-term plan, I realized that if I go to read medicine, by the time I come back, my business might have gone down. So let me focus on my lab and make sure I become the best in the lab. Okay, so the interest and your long-term goal, where you want to go. So Dr. Frank, taking a decision on political grounds is very, very, very good, because now when you one day become health minister, and there are issues between the lab and other professions like medicine, pharmacy, whatever, he could easily or conveniently argue, because the angle either parties is coming from. So thank you very much, Dr. Frank Amakwene, for that insight. Now, on a similar scale, and this one, you did medicine long ago, so let me push it to patients. With regards to medicine, On the WhatsApp platform, someone actually asked how you manage to go to medical school with a BSc. It means that there are people who still are not aware that there are those opportunities. Okay, and the person was asked on the platform. So I want Sister Patience to quickly take us through how the process is, and if anyone has interest, how that person has to begin. Sister Patience. Hello, Sister Patience there?
I think you have muted me. Okay, now it's okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. So the program I am reading is graduate entry medical program, basically for those who have done a first degree in any of the health-related courses with biological science and biochem inclusive. So you just buy normal university forms and you apply. So with the application, the things that they need, you need two reference letters for academic reference letters from any of your lecturers. You need a 6 months bank statement. Hello.
Yes, you muted yourself.
So you need a bank. Looks like I'm breaking. I don't know. You need a bank statement backdated for 6 months, and then you need a letter from your sponsor undertaking to pay all your fees. You also need your transcripts, national service certificate is additional. So you apply. The forms comes out somewhere around October. So you apply online. Then they will select you for the access course. So if you qualify for the access course, it's 2 weeks. You do a 2 weeks access course, and then you write exams. So after the exams, about 100 people came, and there is no pass mark for exams. It's just hello, can you hear me? Hello. So there is no pass mark for the exams. They just take the first 100 people on the list for the interview. After the interview, about 60 people will be admitted. So that's the process.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Now, whoever asked the question, I know you know that if you want to go and read medicine, there are opportunities. Quickly, I want to thank those of us who has helped to make this program a success in the midst of the challenges. I want to thank clinical technologies. They help us secure some funds to help in the planning and preparation of this program. Then FG Melsa, looking at the student front, also came on board to provide support to make sure this program was hosted live. We also have Tridema, where my boss, Mr. Jabo, is coming from. He also helped us so much. His presence here alone is enough. The information and the knowledge that we are getting from him is very, very enormous. So we want to thank him so much and his company. Clinical Technologies says we should inform you that they have a special machine which is able to quantify G6PD. So if you have interest, the video that I shared on the page has the contact on it. You can call them and they should be able to help you out. We also have Era Infosoft. It's a software developing company with headquarters in India. In fact, I'm using their software in my lab, a very robust software which can function both offline and online. As it stands, we have about 5 installed in Ghana. It has the feature that is able to limit the work that professionals do. You're able to limit who authorizes results. You also have a feature where doctors can download the report from the comfort of their home, and also for patients to also download their own reports. So all of these, and you can also install it both online and offline. Online means that you can access the software and the data from your lab anywhere you are in the world. Then we also have the offline where they can install it on a specific computer in your office for everyone to access. So just as I said in the video, their contact is also there. You can contact them if you need a laboratory software. If it's for a smaller company that is registered maybe 20 to 5 cases a day, your price will not be the same as the enterprise that is running about 50 to 200 cases, similar to those who are running maybe 500 to 1,000, 5,000 cases a day. And the software is good for everyone. So Tridema, my boss, has a lot of products. Chemistry, analyzers and reagents are there. He has hematology, and also enzyme ELISA reagents. So if you need any reagents or any supplies for laboratory use, then you can contact Tridema. FG Melsa, we know them. They are the leader of the student front. So the student on this platform, I know you know FG Melsa. They don't have any product they are selling, except that you should continuously support them and be loyal to them for them to channel their grievances. And one of the means is day partnering this program, because as students, we all had a challenge to with regards to the career path we should take. So when they heard about the news that a program of this nature is coming on, they quickly contacted us, and we brought them on board, and they've really helped to make this program a success. So FG Mercer, we thank you so much. Now, my panelists, I want us to go into what I call the career progression in the laboratory. I've come across a lot of issues among ourselves, from certificate to diploma, diploma to degree to master's, now MLSD, and all the stories and the nuances around them. I've had people argue that we should allow everybody to read lab. For instance, we should allow biological general students, home econs, everyone to probably start from certificates. Then they join. And some will also argue that we have to control the numbers, so that we don't get chaff in the system. It comes from several angles. So I want us to look at this career progression, because it directly affects, our career path. If someone is not sure how his progression is going to be, then if you get an opportunity to leave, you will quickly leave. So, Mr. Akonde, you said you've taught before, so you've seen the student front, and you've also led students for some time now. So, looking at the lab, and you sitting as an academician, where do you think, where is the missing link? Are we doing the intakes, are we doing them wrongly, or what are the issues?
I would think that when you look just at how laboratory practice in Ghana started. I mean, historically, it's a profession that started with bench training, and grew up from there to where they'll train you and will not give you even a certificate. Then to when they develop the certificate, diploma, and now degree, MLSD, and you can even progress to become a consultant with the college, the West African College of Medical Laboratory Science. I think that when it comes to the training aspect of it, I think generally we have not really been able to regulate it enough, especially when it comes to the private schools that have sprung up over the years. So there is that challenge, but I'm not sure if we are going to get to a stage where there would be like the lab is going to be full and then we wouldn't need to train more professionals. The reason is that, a lot of our laboratories at the moment, I would say, are understaffed. I've had the opportunity to also manage a lab, briefly before I left for my PhD, where you have a situation where, one person is basically running every aspect of the lab. So there is still that, shortfall in manpower when it comes to, laboratory professionals. So there is more space, both in the private and then the public sector where, government employs medical lab folks. The only thing that I think it's lacking is, whether we should begin to train people in specific areas instead of where we have the broader scope of just training someone who has knowledge in chemistry, in histopathology, in hematology. I mean, it's okay and it's good to have interdisciplinary knowledge. But as the lab is continuously growing, I think one aspect, for trainers to begin to look at is should we begin to, let people, even at the bachelor's level, begin to narrow down, and then they can go ahead to do their whatever fellowship with the college or something like that. But I think that, at the moment, there is really that path where if you are interested in working on as a medical lab professional without really diverting into other areas, which I encourage professionals to do, it's that you can, the sky is your limit. You can become a consultant in a specific field, either, those traditional fields or just even something that you think that you want to be able to narrow down into as a specialist. And as a specialist or a consultant, I see the lab really growing into, those other professions where we have, consultants, just being able to consult for different facilities, not limiting yourself to, just one facility. So there is promise from where I sit, looking into the future with all the MLSD and progressing to that consultancy stage. But then we need to begin to look at what we are doing at the bachelor's level. Should we still leave it at the broader scope? What are the international best practices in terms of training for medical lab professionals? Is that what they are doing, where, you become a jack of all trades and then you end up in a hospital lab where you have to do basically everything? I believe that if we begin to have those specializations, it's going to create even more employment opportunities, because if I'm trained in hematology and I'm posted to a district lab, my expectation is that if we are going to have to run chemistries, then another lab professionals who is basically into chemistry is also posted to that lab. So basically, I think from my perspective, I don't think that the lab is gonna be choked very soon. Even though employers make it seem so, and basically because some of us as professionals have contributed to that, to that kind of thing where they feel they don't need more people in the lab spaces. But I feel there is more room for more people, and I don't see that in the future is going to get full anytime soon. The only challenge is that, of course, we are beginning to have AIs, do some of the things that hitherto laboratory professionals are doing. And so I think that as a laboratory professional, you would want to upgrade your skills always, beyond the machineries and things that, are very much automated. You need to begin to look at the spaces where automation has not really taken over, and then begin to possess those spaces. Otherwise, I think that the lab profession, it's come a long way, and it's really going to the future. We are going to have diverse sort of branches, diverse things to do, and we'll continue to do that. I don't know when we'll get to, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Maybe in the next 20, 30, 40 years. I don't see that happening.
Thank you very much. We are coming to the end of the first section. Then we'll move into listening to the audience. They've been listening to us for so long. So we have to also give them some audience so that we address some of their questions. But quickly, I want to know from Brother Dr. Frank Amakohene, from the political point of view, if, for instance, I read in New Zealand, they have what they call add-on profession. So as a laboratory professional, I could take on a course in, say, medical sonography. Once I'm certified, I get the license for it. It's added. I'm primarily a laboratory scientist, but I have an add-on profession as maybe OBYG sonographer, or maybe thyroid sonographer. So you could have similarly a nurse who will come and do an add course in, say, cytology, or a nurse who will come and do go and pursue a course in cytogenetics. She's a nurse primarily, but he has developed interest in cytogenetics. So once he enroll into a school or a course and pursue and his license, he can practice that as an add-on profession. Politically, and looking at the current space that we have ourselves, with the ups and downs and the fighting and interprofessional quarrels, if you're given the opportunity one day, will you recommend such thing? Because I foresee that will help us. Because, for instance, we have a lab person who have interest in, say endoscopy, and there's a school that I can go and pursue endoscopy, and I go and pursue it. Why shouldn't I be accredited to do it? Because I believe that we all have the basic science knowledge about the anatomy and the physiology and everything, and it's happening elsewhere. So politically, what will be your position on a matter of that sort? Dr. Makohene. Oh, okay, it seems Doug is no more. Okay. So, Mr. Jabo.
I'm here.
Yes. So, Dr. Makohene is not there. You are also a lawyer. Now, we are all part of our frontliners. Looking at this scenario I just narrated, what would you consider? What do you think should be happening?
Well, when it comes to adding on to your profession, like I always say, knowledge grows with interest. So for any person, the best is to first know yourself, know your interests, know your skill set, know your talent. That is the basis for building on. Now, it could well be that you found yourself in the laboratory profession by chance. That is, you didn't choose it, but some way, somehow, you found yourself in it. It's happened to me. Now, I didn't choose medical laboratory when I was filling my forms. But I got a course, and as KNUST policy was, I don't know if it has changed then, in 2002, he said either if you refuse the admission, then if you refuse the course, you have to refuse the admission as well. So you were compelled to read the course. We read it, and looking back, it was something, I mean, I could not have done a better program, than medical laboratory. It has actually helped me in so many, ways, So I always say that look at your skill set. Now I'm reading law now because I'm able to communicate, I'm able to rationalize, analyze, I'm able, I have assessed myself, and I think that I have the skill set to actually flourish in the practice of law. It doesn't matter that I read medical laboratory. I know that, like I said, medical laboratory as a profession is blessed with so many people who are so talented in many, many things. Some people, as they have the knack for engineering, they can go back and enroll in biomedical engineering and become biomedical engineers to help us design, medical laboratory devices that will suit our conditions better than we currently do have. Some can also go to software to develop AI and other, things that will help the practice of medical laboratory. And these things can make them a lot of money, So, like I said, some also have innate affinity or innate love for the practice itself, and they can do it either on the bench or in the research institutions and flourish. So, it as to whether the lab itself is your last stop, or you progress along the laboratory line, or you divert to other fields. It all depends on taking stock of yourself, knowing your long-term goals, and then looking at the employment opportunities that are available, and whether or not you have what it takes to be able to add on. So add on is not for fun. It's not a fashion. It's not something that you see others do and you want to do. It is something that comes to an individual assessment, and if it is worthwhile, then you pursue. So we don't add the people are tempted to look at others and say that if I don't add on, it means that I'm lagging behind. Not necessarily. I mean, I don't really remember whatever step you take must bring you economic benefit. So if you are a senior laboratory now, and maybe if you add on, that will brighten your chance to move into academia and make a success out of it, then maybe you should take extra degree in the laboratory related for maybe MPhil or PhD and become a lecturer or a research person. But somebody will look at his skill set and think that he will not make a success out of academics. So maybe he should move into software development, or he should move into a private practice like your good self and make a success out of it. So like I said, people should add on having taken the 5 points I made: your current talent, skills, education, training, long-term goals, employment opportunities, and work-life balance. Once these things, when put together, are favorable, then one can add on. You shouldn't add on for the sake of adding on.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Jabo. So quickly, let's invite questions. If you have questions, raise your hands. I'll call you, then you ask your question. Whoever, if you want to direct a question, you can do that, but you can also ask an open question, then I'll direct it to a panelist to address it for you. If you have a question, you can leave or you can raise your hand. MN. MN. Michael Onana Opoku Ntrapa. You can unmute yourself and ask your question. Ernest Wilson Jr.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Please, as colleagues who have to do medicine, if you are in lab and you want to move into medicine, it's a bit capital intensive. That is the gap to program. We know it's quite expensive. So how they manage their funding? Was it by
Please, can
personal?
you check your mic? Can you check your mic for us? It's breaking a bit.
Hello.
Yes, I think it's better now.
I'm like, my question is towards our senior. We know medicine is a bit capital. That is, if you are already, you need a bit of money. I want to find out how they manage them. Thank you.
Okay, so Patience, I think this question goes to you because it was specific on medicine. Hello, is that Patience?
Hello.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So how I managed to pay the fees? So you need to find sponsorship, whether it be from your family or other relatives. Although there are also scholarship programs around which you can apply for, but I think you should be able to find that if they can help you pursue your dream. And well, I think you can, although working the normal 8 to 5 work schedule might not help you. You can do other things that can generate income and then help yourself with it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Brother Zuma Roland. Azuma Roland.
Yes.
You can ask your question, please.
Okay. Thank you very much. Please, I am MLSD student going to my 4th year, and so far, following the discussion, I haven't heard. Maybe I missed, but I haven't heard any information on the clinical aspect. What's in for those who stay in the clinical aspect? What are the prospects, especially for MLSD that we do? Right now we are in it, and we are getting good news, but there are a lot of information that we don't yet know students. So I'm wondering, you as maybe you are privileged to some knowledge that we the students don't have yet. So I want to know what's in for us, what's the future for MLSD. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This question, let me try and answer it myself, since I am more clinical. So I must say that being on the clinical front is very, very, very good. Okay, it's just that sometimes because of the fight and all those things, sometimes the even fight among we professionals, I mean we lab professionals, all those things, I mean, come at a cost to us. I did my service in Sunyani those days, and when I got there, I could see that I could improve on certain things, and every angle was against, except maybe 2 people. Okay, so at the end, I realized that I'm not for government work. So right from there, I knew that I can't work in the government environment, or what we call the government hospitals. I've not worked in the teaching hospital, but at the regional hospital, I saw what I mean I cannot contain as a person. So just as has been said, you have to know yourself. If you want to be in the clinical setting, you have to be on top of the game. Me being in private practice, that has been my success story. I have to always be on top of the game. And in the profession with the other professional doctors and all those things, beside all the quarrels, all the fights, or all those kickbacks, if you are on top of your game, they are ready to listen to you. And I always say that doctors are one of the most confident people you come across. They are very, very confident. So if you are around them, then you have to be on top of the game so that you'll be able to level up with them in a way so that you don't have to always, they don't have to look down on you. So there are a lot of opportunities in the clinical setting that we are not tapping as of now. For instance, if you are in school and you are about coming out, you are looking at job and all those things, working in the clinical setting is not just about standing on the bench. Okay, so in the lab setting, we have now those who are looking into quality management as a whole. We have those who are looking into calibration and verification alone. You go to the bigger companies, there are people there who are focused on just that. It's just focused on any machine that comes, you do the calibration and verify, make sure the machine is producing results. There are those who are producing proficiency samples. Okay, as of now, Ghana, we don't have any company giving us proficiency sample that you can buy and test in your lab. So for my company, we have to pay a huge amount from Canada to be able to get proficiency samples. Okay, so they are on top, a lot of on top fields that we did not look at. Mr. Jago made mention of even going into biotechnology and there's AI and how you can, they can help us in the lab. Yes, so if you are now in school, this is a great opportunity for you to upgrade your skills. There are a lot of things I must say you not get whilst you are in school. Someone was talking. Okay, so there are a lot of information that you not get. That is why you have to do the clinical attachment and all those things, so that when you come to the job, you'll be able to get those aspects that routinely you not get. Especially if you do your service in a district hospital or even some of the teaching, and there are certain things you will not come across. For the entire of my service, there are so many things I never knew they exist. But when I got into another company that had them in place, I got to learn them quickly, and now I'm using them. So the clinical setting is very, very, very broad. Okay, and there are on top a lot of on top opportunities that you can quickly um, pick and enjoy your life with. Okay, so I mean, the sky is the limit. Once you decide to be in clinical, then you have to be on top of the game. That one I can assure you, you will not be taken for granted. Is that okay for you, Mr. Zuma? Okay, Miriam Ekulu. Ekulu, if you are there, you can ask your question.
Hello, good evening, Walter.
Good evening.
Okay, I'm a student, MLSD student. I want to go into the production of RDT aspect. Yes, I've not heard anything about that one. I wish to go into academia, but also I want to go into the production or the manufacturing of RDT access. Yes. So please, you guys have not said anything about that. May I please know the possible way out if there is?
Okay, thank you. Mr. Giabo, quickly, I think you can narrow down this question for us.
He says which area specifically?
RDT production, so biotechnology.
Okay, rapid test kits, rapid diagnostic test kits.
Yes.
Yes, I think my mate Lord Basin Uhibetru, you were mates at KNUST, and he subsequently is a biotechnologist and he is into development of RDTs. And I think during the COVID era, he made national headlines when he also was able to come out with local production of COVID-19 test kit. It's an area that is a huge field, green field in Ghana, this, I have had opportunity to visit medical in Düsseldorf, Germany on about 2 occasions. I have been to Arab Health in Dubai, and a number of other international exhibitions. And when you go there, you find out that in most times it is USA, China, and Europe that are, take the lion's share of the exhibition grounds. In fact, in Africa, the only countries I've often seen people that exhibiting is Egypt and then South Africa. The others have out of over 52 countries in Africa, none of the only 2 countries are exhibiting, which shows that our contribution to the production of RVDs, in vitro diagnostic tech is really poor. We import almost everything, and I think that it's something that when the politicians talk about import substitution, it shows that if you can produce locally to the same standard as a foreign, why will we change our cedi to dollar and import when we can buy cedi to cedi from you here? So it's something that I encourage the person to seek more knowledge, more training. I think my mate, Lord, has had a PhD and subsequently done apprenticeship of on-hands training with the lead thinkers or the lead, experts in the field. That's how come he is now having the skills to be able to do similar things here. So it's not a given at all. It costs a lot of hard work. You need to really be on top of your game to be able to excel in that field. So it's something that there's huge market for it. I mean, now the whole world is moving towards RDTs, or as they say, point of care testing, because they believe that in areas like Africa where experts are not in abundance, if you use point of care testing already, it is already quality control and everything. You only need to ask samples and then you are there. So it means that quality is assured in remote parts where you will not find an expert to assure quality. And in terms of interpretation and reading of results, it's also easy even without an expert. So that's the line that the world is moving towards. So whoever asks the question, if the person has an interest there, the person, in terms of the commercial viability, is so huge, but it calls for the person to really be on top of his or her game to be able to make a success out of that area.
All right, thank you so much, Senior Jabo. Now, let me quickly add something to what Mr. Jabo just said. I always ask the question, anytime I enter our lab, and then you turn left, right, center, and everything in the lab is not Ghanaian. Everything from whatever nothing you can point in the lab and say that, oh, this one I bought it from a Ghanaian who made it. So just as some has taken the part of the clinical lab, set up clinical labs, and among all the challenges they are going through, I think that if you have interest in the biotechnology aspect, you have to at least begin from somewhere. Okay, so Dr. Anthony Basin is there. You can contact him that you want to come and have experience how it works. I think he will give you a listening. Okay, there are some of us who have an idea, but we are not doing directly. So you can reach out and you get information as to how to start, but you have to really start from somewhere. Okay, so then the questions keeps increasing. Let's take 3 more, then we'll wrap up. Prempe, kindly ask your question. Is Prempe available? Ariaga Solomon.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Please, can you hear me?
Okay, Ariaga, go ahead.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, sir. Please, I want to know, I'm a student, and I want to know if I complete with the
Prempe, hold on. Let Ariaga finish his question.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right, sir. Please, can I continue?
Yes, you can.
All right. So please, I'm a student and then offering MLSD, and I want to ask if I finish the program with a 6-year program, do I still need to start from maybe from level 200 if I want to read medicine? Do I still need to do 4 additional years if I want to divert into medicine? And my second question is also about opportunities. If I want to practice in countries like the US, the UK, what are some of the requirements? What will I have to do? Some of the tests you have to take. That's what I want to know, please.
Okay. So, like I said earlier, with some of the specifics with the opportunities out there, I think we will need a session with Brother Kondi and some few others who can delve deeper into that one for us. With the MLSD into medicine, as it stands now, I don't think there's any arrangement. But Mr. Kondi, I think, it's something that you can, now it's lobbying. If you can, talk to leadership and they see that they could do something about it. But as it stands now, I don't think there's any arrangement apart from the 4 years, unless there's a diverse view. Mr. Kondi.
Yeah, what I probably will just say is that you're so right. Irrespective of whichever, whether it's the 4 year or the 6 year training that you went in for, if you are diverting into medicine, aside the graduate entry medical practice that you enter into the fourth. You have 4 years to complete. All other institutions, you would have to start from, I think the first year. It's just flat like that. I think there are other institutions that are sort of taking, the steps to also start the graduate entry medical practice, so that it wouldn't be like some form of like monopoly by the University of Ghana. So basically, if medicine is your path, I think that the graduate entry medical program it's probably the way shorter for you. Otherwise, if you want to go to either UDS or KNUST, where they also pursue medicine, you might just have to start from the second year.
Okay. Sister Patience, do you have another information with it? Sister Patience, would you want to add something?
Yeah, I think even with here, we still have to do optometry.
Hello, we are
6
listening.
years. I know someone who did optometry for 6 years and still had to do the 4 years. So I think it will be the same for MLSD as well. Thank you.
Okay. For now, it's the same until it changes. All right. So, Prempe, you can go ahead with your question.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. Please, I hope you can hear.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So my first question is, how relevant is our GPA in our quest to move on or proceed in academics or industry or wherever we want to move on? And the second question is, I'm really interested in becoming an entrepreneur. So the question is, will you advise me to proceed after my bachelor's degree area of interest where I want to move, or what? I hope you get the question, the second question.
So you want to know whether you should move directly after first degree into your interest field, or you should continue with education for some time.
Yeah, I want to know.
Okay. So, Mr. Konde, like I said, with regards to the GPA and those ones, I think we need a time. But if you can summarize it for him, how relevant is the GPA?
Well, I think just briefly, when it comes to going into academia, I think that your academic performance is very relevant. And so if you're able to get a better GPA and especially if you are competing for funding opportunities, you stand a better chance of getting those or winning those opportunities. Other than that, I think generally if you have a second class upper, if you graduate with a second class upper, you are in good shape to be able to proceed to any field that you are interested in. Very rare occasions will you, maybe if you have a second class lower, if there is no competition in the area that you're going, you can be considered. But I think that if your interest is in progressing, you need to really take your academics serious. In addition to the fact that you need to work on research publications, because if you are pursuing a career in academics, research work and publication is really very relevant, and it puts you in a very competitive position to be able to get to where you want to go.
All right, thank you. Give you your summary remarks so that we are actually summing up as well.
I would say, and I think that we've re-echoed this severally, almost all the speakers. Whatever you are thinking about, you need to take time to think through it, even if it's just, taking a day off to really think through about whatever professional pathway you want to go through, either academia, you want to divert into entrepreneurship, or you want to continue with the clinical practice. I think that it's an important decision that requires you to take time off, just think through it. Ask yourself the question, what would you like to do with the rest of your life? Maybe in the next 20 years, is this something you want to continue to do? In the next 30 years, is this something you want to do? Especially with career paths that require a lot of years of training, so that you are not going to, sort of invest your time in something, and then after a period, you need to change to another, sort of profession. So I think generally when it comes to professional choices, everything boils down to you. But I would think that, you take the time, think through it, and then you can be able to make that informed decision where you can, spend the rest of your life doing. Other than that, I am well positioned to offer any guidance if your interest is in academia, especially pursuing study abroad. I sent out when I sent my profile, I did add my LinkedIn, so you can always get me on LinkedIn. Let me know if there is any guidance I could offer you in your pathway to academia, because that is where really now my focus is. But generally, questions about even clinical practice, I think that I'm always available to support you and to offer you any career guidance that you need. So stay in touch, and let me hear from you.
Thank you so much, my brother. We will meet back door.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you so much. Let me quickly run through our sponsors and our partners. Then we will go for closing remarks. Then, Mr. Jabo, in your closing remarks, you add the question with entrepreneurship. Then I can see two more hands on. We will address them. Kindly type your question or record a voice and send it to me. Then we will quickly address them for you. So FG Melsa is powering this program with MMA Labs. So MMA Labs is to diagnosis, so special to semi-special to the basics of labs. You can look up to MMA Labs, DNA paternity, pathology, allergies, and all the clinical relevant tests. You can reach out to MMA Labs and you will be taken care of. If you want to partner MMA Labs in any way, we are always available. FG Melsa, like I said, is the leader of the student front. So if you had any challenge, you can also go through them and we'll be able to help you. Yes, so clinical technologies, they are also into supplies of laboratory equipment and reagents. You can also contact them via the numbers that we put on the page. They also have a section on the page where they will elicit, or if they have a presentation, they can sell on the page. Then we also have ERA InfoSoft, which is into laboratory information management, hospital information management, pharmacy information management. So if you need a software for your lab, that will make your work very easy, then contact the number on the page and they will be quickly address your needs. Depending on the size of your business, they are in to narrow down to you. Thank you so much. Our social media partners, my name on LinkedIn is Ivan Shreme. You can connect and we'll continue the conversation over there. Brother Mr. Diabo, kindly summarize and close your remarks with us.
Okay, thank you, Evans. I think it has been a fantastic program, and I think that the knowledge shared here, I'm sure it will benefit all of us. I've enjoyed my time here. Now, I would like to say that, you know, we have a life ahead of us. Most of those who join are young, and medical laboratory is a fantastic it's a profession on its own. You can actually make a living out of it throughout your life. Others have done so in a distinguished way, and many are still in it, doing it. So if your interest and your skill set is actually aligned to medical laboratory, then I'll encourage you to attain more knowledge in any of the related fields within the medical laboratory fraternity, and you make a distinguished career out of that. You know, career fulfillment can only come when your talent and your skills are aligned to what you do. Otherwise, you are only in the profession for the money, and you'll never be happy, you'll never be fulfilled. But for those whose interests and skill set are maybe outside of the medical laboratory, that means they are wishing to do something more. Just make sure that you consider your long-term goals, and you also look at the employment opportunity, and then also look at the skills you have. So if I myself, I began as a medical laboratory professional, I'm a chartered marketer as well, and now, God willing, next year I'll be called to the bar as a lawyer. I've had further training in
But I think your line is muted again.
So bottom line is that I have looked at myself, and I think that I will make a better career at law compared to being on the bench. And I'm sure this profession is full of fantastic, talented individuals who can move into other areas and make success out of it. So my advice to each and everybody is to look within yourself and make sure that in the end you have a fulfilled career. That's the most important. It's not about how much money you make. It's not about whatever name you. At the end of the day, the question has to be answered by you. Have you had a fulfilled career? And that can only be yes if what you do is aligned to your interests and your skill. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sister Patience.
Okay, Evans, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. As Mr. Giabo said, honestly, I think that as long as you love what you are doing, you excel in it. It doesn't matter whatever the course, you will still be able to make it. But if you think medicine is for you, don't be so much laid back because of you have to spend another 4 years in school. So far as you can afford the fees, because the fees is also quite expensive. But so far as you can find a way to pay the fees, and you really think that that's what you want to do, because that's the only motivation you get to study. I don't know how you excel without liking the course. So if you really think it's for you, don't be laid back by the 4 years, and you know that it's not a waste of time when you complete. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I want to, those who have questions, I want you to rather put your question in the remarks. Two people, of the audience should say something about this program, then we sum up with that. Any of the audience can do that for us. Dr. Roberts.
Moderator.
Yes.
I think I listened to my good friend, lawyer Yabua, and Dr. Konde. I think the other doctor, I don't know him very well. I think they have done a fantastic job. So I bring you greetings from the professional body. I think there's some clarification I wanted to make. One is about the add ones. Apart from what Dr. Jabos said, you should also be mindful about the legal implications. Yeah, you can those areas. You are mindful about you are going. So I think you are good. So we need to look at that one critically. Then the career, I think recently the West Africa the Medical Lab Science have signed MOU and then the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Other universities are yet to join. So after the MLS, you can go ahead with your fellowship. And then we have something that we call dual certification. So after the fellowship, you can still have your PhD, which of course can lead you into. If you are going for membership, you go for your MPhil and then the specialization. So these are some of the prospects that, apart from what we all know, the branches that we all know of in the medical laboratory science profession, and have your way through the academic to business or whatever. So there are so many prospects. And I also want to touch on the some of the areas that, especially the sciences, those with maybe biological science background, chemistry background. The law doesn't permit you currently practice if you don't have the pure medical lab science background. But for the schooling, for the studies, you can still go ahead. I think UDS has started something recently. Apart from, initially they start from level 200 for those without a pure science medical lab science background. So they can now start from level 300 going forward. So moderator, this is what I wanted to add to that particular aspect. I think that you mentioned earlier. If you want to practice, you must acquire the medical lab science background before you practice. But before then, before the Act 857, that was before 2013, those people who were in the lab with other science background were all part and parcel. But currently, because of the law, you cannot do biological science or biochemistry, and then the law will allow that. So that is the issue. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. The past 2 hours has been series of contest questions up and down, and I think the program has been a successful one. And I want to thank each and every one for participating in this program. We had a challenge that affected the numbers because many could not join the link that we sent, especially those who were using iPhones. So we have recorded the entire session that we are going to make it available probably through our website. We're going to make it available so that you can take time and watch it. We also made mention of issuing certificates to people who attended. Now, because many could not attend, once you watch the video and it's acknowledged on the website that you've watched it completely, then we'll issue the certificate to you as well. So we made the information about the certificate. It goes for 30 cities. So make the payment. We'll verify your attendance or watching of the video. Then we'll issue the certificate to you. If you did not attend and did not watch the video, but you registered, we can't issue you the certificate because the knowledge is what is more important, not just about issuing certificate. So please, if you participated, just make your payment and your certificate will be sent to you. Thank you so much. I'm your host, Ivan Shreme, your moderator, and my training coordinator, Mr. Ivan Spey, is also here. He has also been a major help. Our production team, led by Brother Gideon. We thank you so much for giving us this helping hand. We look forward to organize similar events to equip ourselves. And getting to the end of this month, we are organizing CPD training, which will also come on from the 28th to the 2nd. So if you are here and you've not registered, then you can quickly go and do the registration so that you participate in that program and earn CPD points for your license renewal. My name is Ivan Shreme, and I'm a lab scientist. I'm currently pursuing MLSD, and I'm the CEO for MMA Labs. You can link up on LinkedIn. The name is Ivan Shreme. Facebook and other platforms, Ivan Shreme. And also MMA Labs. Once you are with MMA Labs, you are with me. Thank you so much. Hope to see you again. Good evening.